All right, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Happy Saturday for Saturday Zoom. I am, all right, good morning, everyone. There it is. I knew that was going to come. um, yep, so we skipped last week for Memorial Day. How did you do? Did you have a nice Memorial Day? Did you do anything special, Kath?
Uh, just watched the boys play baseball. So nothing other than that being special.
Well, that's special. You have
Yes,
you have grandkids. I don't.
they're a lot of fun.
I know. I hope I have grandkids before I'm too old to enjoy them. So
Well, not if you live a life of purpose. You will live longer, my dear.
that's true.
Right?
That's true. What a nice
So,
segue. um, yeah, we're going to talk about purpose today, but first, I've got my diffuser going, and I have magnify your purpose in there, which is a great
and
blend. Do you have that one too?
yeah, since you suggested it, I have mine going right there
It
on
smells
my diffuser in the
so
back.
good. That'll get you up in the morning. Just
Oh, yeah.
good feelings, good feelings. Um, I want to do a quick check and see. And this website is frustrating me. Um, I just wanted to see what were the oils that are in there that make it smell so amazing, because the blends are just so great. Okay, sandalwood, that's an amazing one. That's good for your skin.
Mhm.
Um, Sage, coriander, patchouli, nutmeg, bergamot, cinnamon, ginger, ylang ylang, and geranium. Wow,
Wow.
that's
I
the
was just going to
power.
say that has a lot of great oils in there.
Yeah,
No wonder they call it magnify your purpose because I think each of those building on each other, each of those oils that are in the blend, it's magnifying the abilities of each of those,
yeah,
the
this is an amazing scent. And as I'm smelling it here, I think I smell the sandalwood, and maybe the ylang ylang. And then there's those heavier, spicier ones like the ginger.
mhm.
But I couldn't have picked all of these out, and I wouldn't have known there's patchouli in there. And patchouli is usually really strong, and you can usually identify that like really quickly, but it's kind of hidden in there. But the
Mhm.
whole combination is amazing. So I'm going to magnify my purpose today. I hope that works for me. Anyway, yeah, Mary won't be joining us today. That's very sad, but I'm sure she'll watch it on
Yeah.
replay later. And when speaking of replay, we are streaming into Living Well and Wise, so I should bring that up and make sure I'm not ignoring anybody in there. Uh, okay, this whole thing just decided to update and install, so it's going to be a minute. But in the meanwhile, um, how did we get on this topic of finding your purpose? Two women at the beginning of the second half of their life talking about finding purpose, right? And it came up because we were talking about the blue zone 2 weeks ago. And the blue zones are those areas where people generally live into their 90s and even into their hundreds. And it's more on a regular basis. Those people, because of the lives that they live, because of their lifestyle, their culture, the foods that they eat, the the way they exercise their bodies, which is not to say exercise, but just living the life and doing manual labor and hard work that way, um, they live to be longer. So, another part of that was that they have a purpose. And in Costa Rica, they call it the plan de vida. And in Japan, in Okinawa, they call it ikigai. Sorry, my Japanese is non-existent, so I'm not sure I actually said that right. But um, so those are those. That's how we got on the topic, and we both said I don't know. If somebody were to ask you, what is your purpose? What's your life's purpose? Um, I was stumped at first. But then as we dug into it, it became more apparent to me that maybe I can't pinpoint my exact purpose, but I have this umbrella or cloud around me of things that I,
Many different things.
yeah, many different things that I do that go towards purpose, I think. And I'm not
Hmm.
going to reveal anything now. I think we can talk about that towards the end of like kind of summing it all up. But anyway, I'm still trying to find living well and wise here. Let's see. All right, here we are. And no one's watching. We're all alone today, Kathy.
We're alone.
I still have hope somebody's going to pop in there. Okay. Um, so the other thing that we found out again is why is it important to have a plan de vida, purpose in life, ikigai? And there, it's not just about staying alive; it's about living for something bigger than yourself, right? And when you connect with those things, it's better for your health, right? Um, you're going to connect your desires, the excitement that you have about things, and things that actually matter. So um, it's that sense of purpose. I'm going to read this. Appears to have evolved in humans so that we can accomplish big things, which may be why it's associated with better physical and mental health. Purpose is adaptive in an evolutionary sense. It helps both individuals and species to survive. Um, and I think that has to it goes back to helping people, that your purpose
Hmm.
has to do with being outside of you. It's not egocentric. It's about what you can do for the world, what you can do for the universe, what you can do for your neighbor and others. So,
Yeah, it's being connected with the people around us, with the, experiences that we're having with people around us, or with nature, or with, you know, but it is staying connected and being connected to something.
yeah, and I think we chatted a little bit about this, that a lot of times you would think that the person who is approaching, or well, maybe approaching school, but definitely approaching college and then finishing up college, those are the people you generally think of as searching for their purpose. But
Hmm.
it can happen at any stage, and it can happen multiple times in your life. Your purpose can change over time depending on what's going on and who are the people around you. So um,
Right.
I think for me, my main purpose when I was younger was being the best parent I could for my kids, being there for them, supporting my husband, and raising two kids to be good citizens of the world. And that's not a job that ends. My cousin posted something that she had read about, your role as a parent never ends. But
Mhm.
there's times where you start to say, well, now they're sufficient independent individuals and they've got to make their own choices, but you never really stop
Right.
parenting.
Right.
And
And I
who knows,
think,
that's really a very strong, purposeful purpose in life, because
right.
you may be, maybe the purpose is your child's purpose. Maybe you're raising the next president of the United States, or uh, rocket scientist, or whatever it is. And so without that foundation that you gave them as your purpose of raising a contributing human being, they wouldn't have been able to achieve their God-given purpose. I don't know.
Right. And I think with talking with my daughter yesterday, who has two children, we were talking about purpose as well. And it's not only, as a parent, providing for them and helping them with things, it's also that, being the example to show them how to deal with hard things,
Hmm.
or to deal with, you can't fight their battles for them all their life. You can talk to them and they can be prepared then to fight that battle a little bit later, or if something similar comes up, right?
Mhm. Absolutely.
Because you want them to stand up for themselves in what they think is, what they believe is good and right, and not to take, like the bullying and a number of other things that happen to young children up and down throughout their, you know, time in school and even as adults. And then I think they will be better prepared for a lot of different things. So being a parent isn't just to make sure they grow up and get into a college, it's all those things combined
Yeah, I was
as a
thinking
person.
about this earlier too, because I thought, gee, man, I'm writing Storyworks stories that my kids gave me for Mother's Day last year, and I'm answering the prompts they give, but I'm also putting in some words of wisdom. And I thought, you know what can I tell my kids about raising kids, about being a good parent? Because it seems to me that there's so many people who were lost along the way, that they didn't have strong parenting, or they did but they still got lost. And can I impart some wisdom, because my kids turned out okay. I mean, they're decent human beings. I think they're still struggling with purpose, but how do I impart that wisdom? And what I came down with is exactly what you said. It's being the best example that you can be for your kids, right? And always
Mhm.
know that they're watching. And so they're watching how you handle things, like you said, those problems. And they're watching what kind of a person you are. Where are your morals? Where are your values? And I think that creates a good sense of parenting, because you see parents who make mistakes, and then you see parents who are just downright not too good. um, and I think you'd like to give them a, here's the book on parenting, read this. But not all the same things work for the same people. But I think it just comes down to being the best example you can be for your kids. And then I'm going to move on from that, because that's only one little tiny piece of purpose. That's one person's purpose,
Right.
and my purpose has changed over time. And I think that's what got us into this, because our child rearing days are over. And now you're on grandchild rearing, but you're not the sole um,
No.
custodial person for that. So you're just a secondary. So where is your purpose? And so I think it's important to understand that, yeah, purpose does change over time, and we might have to search for it sometimes. Maybe we're at a loss, but it is important because it improves your physical health, right?
Mhm.
Let's see. Oh,
It helps
I like
to,
this. This says time to make the rest of your life the best of your life right now. So your past helps you with your future, but it's never too late to redefine your purpose. But do you want
right.
to talk a little bit about the health studies and things?
So, so some of the benefits of having a purpose or living with purpose, it does, like you said, improve your physical health. So there was a study done of 1,400 senior citizens this year that found a strong sense, that had a strong sense of purpose, or having a strong sense of purpose can actually reduce the effects of Alzheimer's disease.
Wow.
And how does it do that? I mean, when you think about it, it's like, some of the elderly are kind of left alone, and, you don't want to listen to them or talk. But the more you talk with them and the more they have the purpose, knowing that they're still, um,
Relevant.
I don't want to use relevant. That's the word I was looking for. Relevant, that really does help them. It makes them feel, like they're still a part of everyone's life and that they're still helping. So I think that's a good one right there. It also helps with, it positively affects pain management. So if you have a purpose, maybe you have a stronger pain tolerance with something that, I don't
Because
know,
you have to get up and do
how to,
something. You
right,
don't want to give
right, that,
that because
so you're not giving in to that pain that
right.
people feel like, oh, a little bit of pain is paralyzing me and stopping me from moving forward and doing things, which I think if you have a purpose, you are going to get up and do those things. It is also said to lengthen your life, and you had already talked about that with people in the blue zones, that they're living longer because they get up each day with a sense of purpose because they are doing the manual labor, they're eating right, and they know they're going to be there in that respect by contributing to their family's well-being and moving forward in that way. I think that really helps them to want to live longer, to live a healthier life, as well as them having that purpose of feeling that they're contributing to their family. And it also makes you happier. Let's see, Barbara Fredrickson, a leading expert on positive psychology, and I'm reading this, describes people who flourish as highly engaged with their families and work communities. They are driven by a sense of purpose. So we just talked about that, of people in the blue zones that are engaged more with their families and wake up with that sense of purpose, that they have to do these things that they're doing during the day to help their families survive, and for them too as well. And because they enjoy doing it, I think that's part of it as well.
Right.
Has to be part of it.
Yes.
So when you're living your life's purpose, you feel energetic, focused, and satisfied.
And we talked yesterday, and I like what you said about retirement, how sometimes when people retire, they don't last too long afterwards because they think of retirement as an end to their purpose instead of the chance to do anything else, to keep living and keep contributing in a different way. Maybe you're not doing the 9 to 5 anymore, but you still have to find a reason to get up in the morning. And I don't think it can be golf.
Right.
You know,
And I think
you
with
have to
people
feel
that
more like you're
retire,
you have to be like feeling like you're more meaningful to the world. I think if for
right,
some people that mindset, if you are feeling like I'm retired and nothing I do matters anymore, that's debilitating in a way.
right. And I think too that people that attach purpose just to their job and providing,
Mm.
you know, financially for their family, which includes the food and all that with the financial stuff and a roof over your head. I think once they get to that end of that and they're retired, they feel that I don't have to provide for anybody anymore. So, you know, I mean, it's just like they've ended their purpose, like you said. So I think you could have work as a purpose, as part of your purpose in life, but you need to have other things too that weigh in a little bit more, that tip the scales, where your job isn't up here, and you know what I mean, that
I,
isn't your major focus only.
I think the longer you've worked, the harder it is to make that transition to not working. And there is a what is it? Trial period, I guess, or transition period where you
Thank
finish working and you're like, woohoo, I don't have to get up, and I can sleep, longer, and I can do this and I can do that. And it's like a kid in the candy factory for a while. But then that feeling wears down. And so you do have to have something that drives you, something that gets you out of bed. And as I said, it's not just golf, making your life meaningful to others, and
right.
that you're there for a purpose. So um I don't know what my purpose is. How do I find out? And there's a lot of self-help on the internet about that. So the first thing they say is listen to your inner compass. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're on the right track. So I love doing Saturday Zooms on Saturday morning, so I must be on the right track. Um, they also say
So is that
envision.
like discovering your
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was going to say that's kind of like discovering your passions, right?
Right, right. Uh, an idea they have is envision your ideal life. If money was not a problem, what would you want to do? What would you be doing if you didn't have to pay the bills, if you didn't have responsibilities? But in your ideal life, what would you be doing? That's going to lead you to what you should be doing, I think. At least maybe in the right field. Do what makes you happy, right? The saying is you'll never work a day in your life if you love what you do. It's
Mhm.
absolutely true. If you don't love the job you're in, then you're not fulfilling your life's purpose. You're not going to be happy. You're going to be stressed all the time. And I think the hardest thing for people to do is to come to that realization and then act on it and do something different. But it's really important because it's your health that's affected in the long run. Think about how stressed you can be at work. If you don't love what you're doing, that stress just weighs on you even more heavily.
Mhm.
So think about what makes you happy and do more of that now. So even if you're not ready to jump ship and start over, make it part of your side gig. Make it a hobby um, until you feel ready to do it entirely and jump ship and start over. Um, so a lot of it is find what you love, find what you're good at, and find where your passion is, and put those things together. Want to talk about Richard?
Yes, Richard Leader. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not sure. But
Good
he's
enough.
the author of a book called The Power of Purpose. And he gives a simple equation to find your purpose. Take your gifts plus your passions, what you love doing, plus your values, and that will equal your purpose. So your
Seems
gifts are
easy.
not just in his, yeah,
Seems a little
your
too
gifts
easy,
are
though, right?
too easy. No, it's not easy because you really have to sit down and think about that, you
Right.
know? So your gifts are not just going to be your skills and your talents, but it's what you love to do, what you can share with others, I think, as well, as we talked before and said, what's great about having gifts if you can't share those gifts with others. Like I talked about you singing, your voice is so beautiful. And when you share that voice, when you share your voice in song, other people, it makes them feel happy. It does me at least, you know. But I think that's one of your gifts. That's also one of your talents. Okay, and your passion is something um, for which you feel deep curiosity and interest in. So, what are you passionate about doing? Are you passionate about um, health? And sharing what you know about health? Are you passionate about sharing exercise things? You passionate about exercising, keeping yourself healthy with exercise? That could be a passion as well. And
What
your
gets
values
you
include
out of
your
bed in the morning?
Yep,
What gets
what
you
gets
out
you
of
out
bed?
of bed in the morning? Exactly, that's passion. And your values, you can include those with your beliefs and what you consider to be most important. So
And
your values include your beliefs and what you consider to be most important to you in life.
it's different for everyone. And I think the main thing about purpose, when you think about kids, well, even middle school kids, because we had this conversation with kids. I used to do an activity with them where they projected themselves into the future when they were graduating from college. And they had to choose their college, choose a major and a career. And then this was a math assignment. So then they had to calculate how much they would be paying in student loans for the college that they chose and how many years, and thinking about how much their parents might have contributed, or if how much they had saved. They had to get an apartment, and they could choose whether they wanted a roommate or not to make the expenses a little bit less. They had to buy a car, could be used, but as sixth graders, they were like way out here, and they were thinking they were going to be doctors and lawyers, or that they would have this great apartment and this super sports car and things like that. And once they started crunching the numbers and realizing the amount of debt that they would have and then the amount of living expenses, that was a turning point for them. And they started to readjust. And maybe I won't go to this college, or maybe this isn't the right career for me. Thinking about purpose shouldn't be egocentric. Yes, you get a certain amount of pleasure from it, but purpose is how you can serve others. And so you have to think about what gifts that I have or you have that can help someone else in some way. So you have to get beyond, I want a career that's going to pay a lot of money. That's egocentric, right? So you have to listen to where your gifts are and how you can best help other people, not how you can best build your bank account.
Mhm.
Um, Other things to
Exactly.
help pinpoint your purpose. What are you good at? What do you love to do? How can you help other people? Um, and how can you make money at it? Now, that's if you're still in the workforce and if that matters to you. I do want to share this um, graphic that I found at jessicadw.com, and she seems to have a whole website about purpose. And this one, I love how she put it in a Venn diagram. So I would say this is for somebody who is still in the workforce, either approaching the workforce, or you want to change careers, you want to find something that you're passionate about. And we've got, what are you good at? What do you love? Or what do you love doing? Or what's that's where your passion is, right? What can you be paid for? And what does the world need? And then these things also cross over. So what you love and what you're good at becomes your passion. What you're good at and what you can be paid for becomes your profession. What the world needs and what you can be paid for is your vocation. And what you love and what the world needs becomes your mission. And when you can hit on all of these at the same time, you're at that sweet spot where the star is that says, yeah, this is your purpose in life. I think it's really easy. I shouldn't say that because it's not, doesn't really apply. But I think for some professions, you just know that they have that purpose because they wouldn't have chosen that profession otherwise. And I'm thinking specifically of people in the medical field, doctors, dentists, nurses, um, physician assistants. I didn't say that too well, didn't I? Physician's assistant. Um, Teachers often have a purpose, clergy, you feel like you have a calling or you have those talents for teaching, for healing, whatever it is, that those types of professions are all automatically service professions and feel like you have your purpose. But it becomes harder for us when we're not in those specific professions. What do you think about that? I'm just waxing poetic here.
No, I think you're right. I think that um, I think it does all come from a place of service. No matter what your 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 purpose is, at some point there's going to be a service aspect to it. And I'm not just talking about healthcare professionals and in whatever you do, whether it's to your family, your friends, or like you said, in a place of in the workforce, in your profession.
Right. And if you're in a type of profession where you don't feel that passion, okay, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but if you are a sanitation worker, maybe you have that passion that you're cleaning up the earth. But if you don't, and that is your vocation, that is your livelihood, then perhaps your purpose comes in other ways. Again, we talked about parenting as a big purpose in life, right? To set an example and be hardworking so that your kids can see
Mhm.
that money doesn't come easy and that you have to work for everything, whatever it is. But I think your life's purpose doesn't necessarily have to connect to your career choice, and that you find your purpose in other places as well. So maybe
Right.
that sanitation worker is really active in the church and sets a good example in the church in how they minister to other people. You know,
Mhm.
so I think it's a mistake to look for purpose only in your chosen profession.
Right.
That website that I showed that graphic from um, also shows I found some other activities there. Mm, I might have lied. I think it might have been from a different website. But one thing they say, if you're having trouble finding your purpose, they said to read, engage in reading, uh, nonfiction, fiction, reading the Bible, all of those things can help you find your life purpose. So some people are inspired by someone else's story and they read about it and they take up that as their passion. Uh, Nonfiction, how did they explain that? For an adolescent reading nonfiction, reading a narrative, you can see the life of a character and the choices that they've made and how things happen. So you get the benefit of learning from their life, from their mistakes and their successes to help you to accumulate more knowledge on how to react in your own life.
Mhm.
And then reading the Bible, one of the things that it said was that when you read the Bible, you instill a greater sense of awe and wonder of the world, and you deepen your spiritual sense. Um, and those people are generally more driven and have a better sense of purpose. So another suggestion was turn your hurt to helping. Some people because of what they've gone through. So if you were in a debilitating accident and the staff at the hospital or the PTOT people helped you to overcome your struggles in your journey, that might inspire you to do something similar, to become a physical therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a doctor or whatever it is. Turn your hurt into helping other people. And then I like this one. It says you need to cultivate three things in your life: awe, gratitude, and altruism. Now, when they talked about awe, they said the experience of awe makes us feel connected to something larger than ourselves. And that does sound like purpose to me, right? You're connecting, you're appreciating. I often go out in my patio and I just love looking at the sky and listening to the birds and feeling like what a great world we live in. Um, and so that sense of awe can provide the emotional foundation for finding your purpose. And then gratitude. We've talked about that a lot. Being grateful. Um, Children and adults who are able to count their blessings are much more likely to try to contribute to the world beyond themselves. This is probably because we can see how others make our world a better place and will be more motivated to give something back. So just practice being grateful. And I also think that changes your perspective on life, especially if you're feeling down or if you're feeling like the world is not going your way. When you stop and you actually count your blessings, it's life changing, I think. And the third one was altruism. People who engage in more altruistic behaviors like volunteering and donating money tend to have a greater sense of purpose in their life. So that's that altruism, coming out of yourself and serving other people. Um, I'm going to read this because this is from the website. Interestingly, gratitude and altruism seem to work together to generate meaning and purpose. In a second experiment, researchers randomly assigned some participants to write letters of gratitude, and those people later reported a stronger sense of purpose. More recent work by Christina Carnes and colleagues found that altruism and gratitude are neurologically linked, activating the same circuits in the brain, the same reward circuits, sorry. So those things together can help. So give of yourself and be struck with the awe and wonder of the world, and practice gratitude. Three big steps. Um, and then here's another one: listen to what other people say about you, because sometimes we don't recognize our own gifts, especially if they're not specific talents that maybe we worked on. You know, if you play guitar and you're playing guitar and um, you think that's your talent, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else that's just a God-given talent or skill or just part of your personality that other people appreciate. So listen to what they say about you. I don't know if you can actually harvest from other people. You know, like you put it a meme out on Facebook saying, "What do you appreciate about me?" or "What's something unique about me?" You may or may not get good stuff there because, people are either going to ignore it or they're going to put what they think you want to hear, and
Hmm.
it may not be authentic. But anyway, pay attention when people give you a compliment. Think about that. Is that related to your purpose? um, Find and build community. So being part of a group, and sometimes that group is connected. So when you find something you really love to do, find the people around you who like to do that too. Those are your people. That's your tribe. That's your community for that particular set of skills and that passion that you love. So when you find that community, that can actually help build your purpose. And then tell your story, write narratives, write stories, write a journal. And a lot of times that deep inner thought comes out, um, and helps you. Like I find that it, very reflective and very eye opening when I sit down and I journal and I write, because then I thoughts come out that I didn't know were there. They just come out. They go from brain to the hand to the pen, and I'd be like, I'm reading this going, really? But it is. It's I can't think of the word. Not eye opening, but um
Enlightening.
that's it. That's the word. Thank you. Um Here, why don't you take the next section there, because that's about Richard Leader again.
Okay. So, more about finding your purpose. Like Linda said, find time where you can sit down and write without distraction and write honestly. So, journaling, basically. Um, and maybe ask yourself, what am I good at? What do I love to do? In what way can I help others? And if you're still in the workforce, maybe ask yourself, how can I make money at this? So, other things that they mentioned too, to help you find your purpose and that you had already talked about, was the reading and getting involved with that. And you had already gone through the awe, the gratitude, altruism. So,
We're on section
and
six. Did you see that?
okay, no, I didn't. I
Sorry.
missed some.
I move
Okay.
fast. I move fast over things.
Yeah, you did. So where are we?
Um,
I lost my place in
we
here.
we're on number 6.
I
More
don't
about
see
finding your
numbers.
purpose. And
Okay, so I must have connected my pages wrong.
okay. Okay. Well, it's not page 6, but number 6 on the outline. But
Yeah, no, I think I.
well, one of the things that is in that section there is talking about what are your core beliefs, your morals, your principles, because that's really got to be strong. I think you have to have that strong connection to your inner values before you can give out to others, because you kind of have to have your own head in place before you start giving to others. But I love this question. So it said, if I had 1 year left, how would I spend it? How would you spend that last year of your life if you knew you only had 1 year left? What kind of things would you engage in? What activities? What would you do? And that can be a strong indication of what you should be doing. Again, that other question that we had before about if money wasn't an issue, how would you spend your time? And those are those things that, you may not be able to go cold turkey and jump into the next thing, but it gives you indications of where your passion is and where your interests are, and you're just about connecting that to others, how others can benefit from the things that you're passionate about. um, Here's another one. If in what moments in the past week have I found myself completely engaged and focused on what I'm doing without stress or distraction? So it talked about finding your flow, which we've talked about finding the flow before. When you're in your flow, you can sit and work at something or stand or whatever it is you're doing, and time stands still, and you don't even realize that 3 hours have gone by. You've forgotten to eat. uh, that is being in the flow, because you're into a job, you're into a task, whatever it is, and you're not distracted. You just keep going because you love it. It's something that is engaging to you. So you got to pay attention to those times where you're just, for me lately, it's been graphic design. I love creating graphics, and I can sit and create one after another and just keep going with that. uh, or something to do with essential oils. Those are two things that I like to do, or doing research for a Saturday Zoom. But yeah, when you get into the flow, that's a strong indication of the thing that you love to do. Uh, and another big prompt that I like is, how do you want to be remembered in this life after you're gone? And that's something to think about, right? Like, we don't want to think about not being here, but if you were to look back on your life, would you be satisfied in the ways that you served other people, with the things that you've done in this world? Did you contribute? And that, I think that's a powerful one to think about. More from Jessica DW. She has 4 steps for finding your purpose. First, um, or making your life more purposeful, because her first one is find your ikigai, and ikigai is your purpose. But in addition to that, the second one is disown your fears. So if you're someone who makes excuses, or I can't do that because, go to the next step and figure out, well, what would happen if I did this? And one of the examples would be, I can't do that because my family and friends would make fun of me and tell me that I'm not being realistic. So that's just a fear. That's something that, fears are usually things that we invent in our heads, which may or may not come true. But you have to disown your fears, and you have to analyze it and say, well, gosh, my friends have always supported me in the past, so they probably still will. And so you have to face the fear and then counter it with something positive to get rid of it. She also says, claim your value. And I didn't write notes about that, so I don't remember what she said about that. I can probably find it really quickly. Um, except for I have like 5 websites open with her, from her. Claim your value. Once you've erased your fears about pursuing your purpose, you begin to identify your core values. So start by making a list of everything you value, and um, then narrow it down to 5 of your most deeply held values. So just identifying, claiming your values. Her website is full of helpful tools. So she's got a core values list, what's important to you, and she's got a huge list of things like democracy, curiosity, joy, inquisitiveness, family, recognition, self-control. So I will add this core values list to our links at the end and post this on on Living Well and Wise. And if you're watching this later on YouTube or on Saturday Zoom, you can always request, send me a note and I will send you those links. But she also has, Kathy, did you take the quiz? She
I
has a
did take the
quiz
quiz.
about finding your purpose. And it says, I'm ready to find out what it is. And she asks you different questions like, how would you describe your ideal job? How would your friends and family describe you?
Mhm.
As a child, what did you like to do? And there's a whole list of things about what you might have liked to have done. What's your worst fear? And the thought of starting your own business makes you think what? Um, what is your preferred collaboration style? What gets you out of bed in the morning? That's a big one, right? What gets you out of bed? I have to make breakfast for the kids. Not quite a purpose, but parenting and doing a good job for your parents or for your kids might be a purpose. But maybe there's something else there, that her examples are the opportunity to create something new, the chance to help other people succeed, the opportunity to share my knowledge with others, the chance to solve hard problems, or the feeling of being alive. Um, and then you can put your first name in there and your email, and she'll send you the results. And I'm going to do that with my, I already did it once. Oh, I put a couple of different answers in there, and I'm not a maker anymore. I'm a healer. Okay. But
I'm a healer.
are you a healer? I could see that.
It is. And it came right on too. I mean, it was spot on everything. And I think when you're answering those questions, if you put that link in there for people to take the quiz, when you're answering the questions, it's not going to have exactly the answer that you might be looking for, but put the one that's closest to you or that you feel you can identify with the most.
Hmm.
Because it's not going to be a perfect
No,
quiz for everyone,
no.
but you would be surprised. I mean, I was not surprised by the results of mine, actually, because I knew from the time I was maybe 14 that I wanted to do something in the medical field. And sure as heck enough, every medical profession just about came up on mine.
Mhm.
And so, like I said, I wasn't surprised by the healer
Right.
and other things that are related to it. I wasn't surprised by that at all.
I am
You know.
surprised that mine hasn't said teacher, but I think it's because I'm answering it now, where being
Mhm.
a teacher is kind of in my past, even though I still teach in other ways. Um, I think more of my passion is making things and helping other people. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. So I encourage you all to try it and see. It's like you said, it's probably not a surprise, but it's not clarification, but a confirmation of what you probably already
Mhm.
know. And anytime we can
Right.
confirm our own, our own thoughts, that's powerful in moving forward.
Right.
Um, so one of the takeaways, finding your life's purpose, it your purpose doesn't have to be this ice cream with the sundae on top, this big world idea. Finding your purpose can be something very simple, and that it can change over time. So don't be thinking that, you have to be Gandhi for your purpose. Your purpose can be small and can affect a smaller community of people. It doesn't have to affect the whole world. But we know, like, from osmosis, from paying it forward, that your actions affect the next person who affects the next person. And so it creates a ripple effect. So
Right.
don't think you have to have this world vision. It can just be small in the people around you and how you can affect them. So um, I looked at one more website, well, two more websites, but one talked about your calling. What is a calling? And the calling, I think, is just another way of thinking about what your purpose is. It utilizes your natural gifts, you serve others. And this is where it also talked about creating flow, where you get so involved with something that time passes by and you don't even realize how long you've been working on something. All of this goes to finding your purpose is leading to living with purpose. So, a little bit of a different tangent there, right? So, 9 steps for creating purpose. The first one is creating a compelling future. So I think looking ahead, that where am I going in this life? And again, people who are retired, you can start over. It doesn't mean that you're done. And I think the minute you
Right.
think you're done is when you stop living. So keep creating that compelling future. Know your whys. Why do you do the things that you do? Um, find your mission for your purposeful life. Again, keeps changing. Figure out what you're sent here to do. Um, act today, not tomorrow. So don't put it off. Make make something happen, and take baby steps or crawl if you prefer. So you don't have to do it all at once. If it scares the life out of you, do something small.
Yeah.
Uh, focus on one thing at a time. Right. I have a hard time with that because I get an idea and I'm like, oh, well, I could do this and I can do this and I can do this. And then you become so overwhelmed that you do nothing. So I think you have to write it down a lot of times. Here are the steps. Here's what I want to do, and I'm going to start with step 1 and just focus on that until I get really good at it, and then I'll add step 2 and however it goes. I like this one. It says say no a lot. Sometimes I think people get stuck into their feeling of purpose is serving other people and that you can never say no. But again, if you have that focus and you know where your future is going and you know how you are best serving other people, you have to say no to those things that don't fit within your vision and within your values. And that's not to say you're a bad person for saying no. That just means that you're more focused on where you're going and what your true purpose might be.
Hmm.
Um,
And you might come back around at another time and maybe be able to say yes to that. But
mhm,
I think you're right. Focus on what you need to do, what's on your plate now, because you can only hold so much on there without other things dropping off. And if you have a clear vision of what you need to do and how you need to do it to get there, the steps you need to do to get there, you can't take on everyone else's
mhm,
things that they're asking you to do.
right.
So yeah, say no.
Gotta say no. It's hard to do. There's some people who
It
never
is.
say no, or they say, "Oh, I'll try," and then they feel guilty for saying no. Let it go.
Yeah.
Keep that focus of where you're headed with the purpose. Um,
And you may have a stronger reaction to that no than the person that you said no to is
right,
having because you said no,
right.
so
No with
don't take on,
apologies.
yeah,
Another is look at obstacles as signs. So we always feel like we're on the path, and then something, a tree falls in front of you in that path, and how how you deal with that helps to set up your success, right? So look at that as a sign. What can I learn from the obstacles about the things that are happening around me that conflict or are preventing me from going forward, and use them as signs, because I do believe the universe tells us things all the time, whether you believe in God or something else that's spiritual, or just the universe at large, karma. I do believe that we're given signs. So open your eyes to the signs and try to figure out, what can I learn from this and what's going on. Um, and the last one, it's similar to where we said read. It says consume uplifting content. So the things that you surround yourself with can influence you. So if you are watching a lot of TV and nasty TV, not nasty, but junk TV or whatever, how does that influence you? And is that helping you with your life purpose? And I'm not going to preach to anybody because I watch a lot of TV, but um is are the things that you surround yourself with, the books, the media, the music, the TV, movies, whatever, is that having a positive influence on your life? Um, and again, I don't
And
think
maybe it's just
anybody,
getting you to maybe it's just getting you to take a step back and relax.
right,
If it's something relaxing you're
right,
watching
yeah.
or listening to or whatever. Yeah.
And I don't think it's like, oh, you can never watch
No.
a bad
Lucille Ball.
something. I don't know. You can never watch it. I think you can learn from almost everything, but if you're constantly, I don't know, if you're constantly watching shoot 'em up
Negative.
kind of movies, where everybody's
Yeah.
killing each other and there's bad people, and like that might have an influence on you. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not saying you can never watch a movie like that. No, what is, we do have downtime, but it is just talked about consuming uplifting content, making
Right.
sure that you are feeding your soul with the good things too. So
Hmm.
Anita and Lori are watching. Hello, ladies.
Hello, Anita. Hello, Lori.
We're almost to the end of our broadcast today. So one other part about this, it says, how does my ideal life look 3 years from now? Which I like that idea. That's sort of like, how will I be remembered? Or if money wasn't an issue, what would life be like? But how does my ideal life look 3 years from now? Because then you're giving yourself the blessing of time to get to that point. It's a little bit easier to envision that, even though my sense of time is always off and I'm always late. But I did a research on that, and it said that people who are constantly late are very creative and very smart, and they always think that they can do more in the amount of time they're given than they can. But I think I get into my flow and the time goes out the window. But side side note there. But how does your ideal life look 3 years from now? And then be open to receive information either way by writing what comes to your mind, or meditating on it. Um, and when you're looking for your calling or your purpose, it says start with the end in mind. So that's the same as what's in 3 years. Like, how, what's my goal? Where do I want to be? And then back yourself up and figure out the steps to get there, and start taking those steps no matter how small that they are. Um, Having a plan. I like this one. We all have 24 hours in per day, yet some people seem to accomplish great things while others are scattered and do a little bit here and there. A key component in creating a purposeful life is focus. Rather than trying to do it all, become aware of your limitations, do one thing at a time, and dedicate time, energy, and commitment to it. And once you feel stable in that area, move on to another one. Um, Fill your life with things that bring purpose and meaning. Say no to things that aren't aligned with that. And Oh, I just realized what I'm reading. I have my little list, the 9 things we talked about, and then I put information about those 9. That's I'm like, I'm feeling like I'm repeating myself. So going back to that one about consuming uplifting content, it says we are the texts we read, the movies we watch, the podcasts we listen to, the conversations we have, and the people we spend time with. Those things determine how we perceive the world. And if you constantly consume negative and fear-based content, then that's likely how you're going to experience the world. Your mind will believe what you tell it, so feed it wisely. And that makes for a more purposeful life. So I think that explains it better than I do. All right. I saw a couple of videos this week about it, and I will post those as well. And one I haven't finished watching because it's it goes from person to person, each telling their life story, or maybe not their life story, but their aha moment where things changed for them. And I would caution people who are looking for a career, whether it's a first career or a change in career, that you cancel the noise that is coming from around you, the distraction, right? Your parents, your relatives are going to tell you one thing, society tells you another thing, norms, and it's too easy to fall into those norms and do what everybody else is doing, right? We all have this idea of we're supposed to go to, finish high school, go to college, we have a relationship, we get married, we get a good paying job, buy a house, we have kids and pets, we work hard, and we retire in Florida, right? That seems to be the path, but that doesn't have to be your path if it doesn't coincide with your vision and your purpose. So be careful not to feel like you have to do something just because that's the way everybody else does it. Emily Wapnick is a young woman who kind of tagged the term multi-potentialite. And I love this as something that I preached to my 6th graders. And that is that for some people, there's not just one path. There's just not one focus in life. She says that multi-potentialite is the love of many different areas or topics, and being all consumed by a topic until you master it. And then you get tired of it and you switch to another. Society doesn't usually approve of this, but for some, your passion comes and goes. And this is one way for you to be happy, that you don't have to be just settle for one career. And sometimes you can also combine these ideas, these different passions, to something that's totally unique. So yes, you can change careers when you're 30, 40, 50, 60, or beyond. And some people don't have one true calling. So you need to be open to everything that you're going to find out along the way, and what you have passion for. And it can change. Purpose. There's a song in the musical Avenue Q. That's the one where they use the Muppets not the Muppets, but puppets. And the one fella has a whole song about finding his purpose. He's just out of college and I don't know what to do with my life. What's my purpose? And again, it doesn't have to be a life shaking discovery. It has to do with your passions and helping others. So, any last words?
No. Find your purpose, everyone. Sit down and do all the things that, make you feel good, that make you happy.
And then find out how you can make other people happy doing it.
Right.
Right.
Right. And I did have a misprint on my sheets here. That's why I couldn't figure out where we were at. I must not have, I lost like a page, maybe 2 pages out of there. And I was like, where did it go? And I kind of glanced at my phone here and I looked at the printing thing and I must have accidentally hit a couple of those that blacked out those
Sorry, I
pages.
threw you under the bus to talk about something that you didn't have.
I was like, not in front of me anymore. I knew it was there. I know when I read it on the computer, it was there, but when I printed it, I must have accidentally deleted those pages or something not to print. Oh, well.
Oh, well, there you go.
Got to move on, right?
Got to move on. So I got things to do for the day. I feel like I've been kind of running in place and not getting a lot done. And I've got to go to the post office. I got a mission today. So purpose and spreading joy to other people. That's my purpose. And
There you go.
one of my takeaways from the blue zone, and also we kind of mentioned it today about community, is that I am going to start a weekly happy hour at my house. The Sardinians like the wine at 5, and so every Friday we're going to invite people over from the neighborhood, and just
To
kind
do wine
of get
at 5.
together. Kind of we have plenty of wine right now, but it'll be a BYOB in future weeks, and hopefully other people will want to host. So it won't always be at our house, but um, it would be fun just to get together and start to know my neighbors a little bit better. So
I like that.
yeah, so I got my invites are ready to go. I gotta send them out, and hopefully people will show up on Friday, and you know we'll
That'd be
start
nice.
building our tribe around here.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody has a great week or great weekend first. Enjoy the weekend, and I hope it's nice weather, at least for part of the weekend for you. And we'll
Oh,
see
here
you.
in Michigan, it's going to be in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, nice. Nice. We're in rainy season, so I'm not sure. I got clouds through Tuesday, but it doesn't say it's going to rain anymore, so that's okay. Partly cloudy the second half of the week, but in Florida, it's like the partly cloudy comes and goes, and you get to enjoy
20 minutes.
good part of the day. So, yep. All right.
All right.
Well, Kathy and I we'll chat about what's up for next week. But thanks for joining
Okay.
us today, and we'll see
Thank you.
you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.